News with Gina.
The News with Gina Grad.
The jury in the Harvey Weinstein trial continued to deliberate Thursday. The panel asked for clarifications of the charges against the movie mogul, a blueprint of his apartment where the assaults allegedly took place, and graphic testimony from accuser Miriam Haley. The day before, the jury asked about witness Annabella Sciorra and why she didn't have any of her own charges against the movie producer. Unclear as to what her response was. I imagine it's a statute of limitations, so I'm not sure. Weinstein insists all these encounters were consensual, so they're going to close this out soon, I think.
Wow. Who knew that trials were going to play such a huge part in our adult lives?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like when I was a kid, it was like, well, there was sort of Nixon, Watergate. Then we had a pretty long run of not much going on.
It's funny because when you say that...
Little McMartin sprinkled in, but
right.
These are little sidebar-y things, you know. But it wasn't, Jussie Smollett's on deck and Harvey Weinstein is up at the plate and then Trump's in the hole.
Yep.
You know, like it's just... I do feel like essentially... As we grow as a society, we're just growing into one giant regulation and one giant attorney and one giant courtroom, and everyone's just going to be piling through the courtrooms.
Get in line.
Yeah, it's just going to be more and more of it, right?
Yeah, and it's funny because I imagine Brian will agree. When you said as a kid, did you picture this? As a kid, I thought all court was your neighbor stole your garden hose and you ended up on people's court.
Yeah.
And that was the end of it. That was the end of litigious people.
There was like the doctor who poisoned his wife, kind of. There's a couple, there's a little bit of that, but I didn't know it was just going to be an ongoing thing where everyone was in. We go from Bill Cosby to Weinstein to, we circle back to Trump, then we go up to Roger Stone, and we just, like, it's just, everyone is just in court.
Constantly.
It's nonstop.
Yep.
Yes.
Well, I know you just spoke with Andrew Yang, and he has a new gig. He's joined CNN as a political commentator. The former Democratic presidential candidate tweeted that he's excited to join the network, quote, to help shed light on the election and the candidate's experience. So he went on with Anderson Cooper before the debate and during to offer his thoughts on how everybody was faring. Here's a clip of Yang predicting the criticism Bloomberg was going to receive before it started and how it was going to be handled.
This is essentially the Bloomberg debate, Anderson. The fact is the other candidates have had 8 debates where they've had their talking points essentially hardwired in. It's almost second nature. Whereas for Mike, this is going to be his first time. He's not accustomed to getting hostile questioning on a regular basis. He's not accustomed to getting his past comments on sex and race dragged. So it's going to be a real test of temperament and even humility for Mike tonight. And the question is whether he can take the slings and arrows that are coming his way in stride.
Oh, man. Liz Warren went nuts on him.
Awesome.
Yeah. And the audience is cheering. It's crazy. What was the tape? What was the one where he had all these non-disclosure agreements? And, of course, that's the big thing. You know, it's a weird world we're living in because there is – I'm not a big Bloomberg apologist or fan, but I'll tell you one thing. There is no such thing as living in this modern world and having a large business and not getting sued or NDAs or just a whole list of, what about your taxes? What about your, it's like, there's no such thing as navigating this world without disgruntled employees, paying people, settling out of court, all your taxes with offshore account. It all looks horrible to regular folk. It all seems horrible. But if you run a huge corporation, it's all of the above, and it will always be. It doesn't mean you didn't say stupid stuff, but it just shall be.
Right.
One thing that Trump's always done that I thought smart for forever, he's owned it. If he signs NDAs, fuck it. Yeah, sign a lot of NDAs. Paid off porn stars? Yeah, what of it? I fuck porn stars.
Well, the problem Bloomberg and the rest are getting into trouble for is you're spending your half of your half your message is wagging your finger at people, and now it turns out you have a whole bunch of finger waggable offenses in your past. Well, then, of course.
Well, didn't Bloomberg say the only winner here tonight is Trump?
Well,
because the way they all attacked each other?
Yeah, well, Elizabeth Warren's going to go after him.
She had a couple of zingers.
There was one part that The one part that was a watershed moment to me is when they were trying to get him to drop, release the non-disclosure stuff and let them speak and blah, blah, blah. And he was kind of dancing around it. But at some point he said, yeah, I may have made a few jokes that upset people or something. And the audience went whoa,
the audience
he made
is the worst part of these debates.
Yes.
The audience is the worst element.
Well,
because they're either going, oh, we're clapping,
right.
or just fucking slim talk.
All right, we'll play a clip, sorry.
Mayor has to stand on his record, and what we need to know is exactly what's lurking out there. He has gotten some number of women, dozens, who knows, to sign non-disclosure agreements, both for sexual harassment and for gender discrimination in the workplace. So, Mr. Mayor, are you willing to release all of those women from those non-disclosure agreements so we can hear their side of the story?
Audience is erupting.
We have a very few non-disclosure agreements.
How many is
Let me
that?
finish.
How many is that?
None of them accuse me of doing anything other than maybe they didn't like the joke I told. And let me just there's a big
he made a joke. The old man made a joke. Yeah, sticks and stones, bitches. Jesus Christ. They're kind of he made a joke. That's just as bad as rape in the park. Fucking retards. Also, you know what I was watching? And they kept going, Liz she kept going, okay, so if you didn't do anything, then just release the women. Let them be okay to talk. And he was like, that's a legal matter. And she was like, no, well, why don't you just tell them right now? Say it in the camera. And then he was going, well, there was a few or 13. How many were there? And she was going, I don't know, do we have any more of that? But we'll play it. But listen to Liz on her game.
Two parties that wanted to keep it quiet, and that's up to them. They signed those agreements, and we'll live with it.
So wait, when you say it is up to, I just want to be clear. Some is how many? And when you say they signed them and they wanted them, if they wish now to speak out and tell their side of the story about what it is they allege, that's now okay with you? You're releasing them on television tonight?
Senator? No.
Is that right?
All right, you can pause it. But here's the thing. Hey, what about the old Liz Warren who was like, hey, you said you're fired because you're pregnant, but we have an interview. Well, you were not nearly as focused.
Yeah.
She's laser focused when she wants to be laser focused. That's an attorney who's focused.
She's focused or folksy.
Well,
she
those
two
are two
modes.
things. But then when someone says to you, hey, how are you going to pay for Medicare for all? She's like, well, blah, 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 blah. So I'm like, okay, see, this is my thing with Yang and Bernie. I don't feel like it's this version or that version.
Right.
It's just the version. You can agree with the version or not, but it's that. Liz is, when she wants to put on her lawyer hat, her powdered wig, and get super focused, she thinks very clearly when she needs to.
Did you hear the horse face comment? I think we have it. This is fantastic.
I'd like to talk about who we're running against. A billionaire who calls women fat broads and horse-faced lesbians. And no, I'm not talking about Donald Trump. I'm talking about Mayor Bloomberg.
Now,
wait, was that a clip from Bloomberg TV?
They do it.
Fair balance.
Hoisted by his own petard.
We got this new thing working, which is we have done a subtle little three-card Monty with words, which is you can call Rosie O'Donnell a fat pig, but you're not calling women fat pigs. You're calling Rosie a fat pig or horse-faced, whatever. You can say that about Ann Coulter's probably been called a horse face, whatever, a million times. But but that guy's also married to a woman. He's not calling his wife a horse. And it's the same thing with he said all Mexicans were rapists. It's no. You have to figure it out. Bloomberg, I'm sure, called somebody a horse face something or a fat ass something, but he didn't call women that. He called Cheryl Ann that, who was in accounting. And people go, so is that right? And it's no, it's not right. But when you're 80, and you have 7,000 employees, at some point you're going to say something. On the other hand, not the same as you calling. It's me. It's like I go, I disagree with David Allen Greer, and they go, he said blacks were blah blah blah. And it's no, I said this person.
Yeah,
can't spread it out to women. So It's funny, Liz in her lawyering was laser focused when she needs to, and then sort of gets kind of broad and sloppy when she has to.
And if people forget about the other stuff, then who cares? When it comes to, from her point of view, who cares?
Right.
You're only as good as your next quip.
I decree all women are fat asses. That's my decree. Elle McPherson, sorry, sweetheart. You're a woman. That is my decree. All Mexicans are rapists and all women are horse faces. That's my decree.
I got it.
Okay, that's what I think. It's really difficult to run a business if that's the way you roll.
But if you're trying to get the one nomination for president, you're going to throw everything at it.
Well, his problem is... Also, I do like when they make a lot of, we don't need another rich guy. It's like, okay, should we have someone who's on welfare? Like, that's the ultimate poor person. Right. Like, let's keep doing your math. I don't know. He built a business. He runs things. So, I'm okay with it.
Speaking of which, the weirdest blowback I saw on Twitter was a lot of people were taking him to task for the answer of, like, how did you become a billionaire, blah, blah. I worked really hard. We're like, oh, the housekeepers work really hard. But that's the
what other answer is there?
He did work really hard, and now he's wasn't given $1 million or $1 billion for his family. He's like a middle class guy. He's like super rich now. Like, what's a better answer? Like, yeah, I'm really, really smart, or I understand business better.
There's
than
no
you.
answer. Watch,
really
I'll tell you the only answer
terrible.
that's acceptable anymore. You ask me how I made my $1 billion.
Mayor Carolla, how did you make your $1 billion?
I don't have $1 billion.
Oh, but You're on Forbes list of...
You have $1 billion.
Oh, well, you're on Forbes list of billionaires right there at number 8.
Well, that's wrong.
Okay.
It's yours.
Oh.
I came here in an Uber, not even Uber Black or Deluxe or
Uber
whatever.
Share.
Uber Share. Wow,
Yeah.
that's very...
Hey,
it's
look at my feet. See what I'm wearing?
What is that?
Flip-flops.
Flip-flops.
Would a billionaire wear flip-flops?
I mean, if you're claiming not a billionaire, so I guess no.
No. Zero. Yeah, I know. Daddy's money's off the table, and then you making your own money's off the table?
Right. Well, and then to that point, did you hear about Bernie's 3 houses? He wasn't sure what to say.
Oh, yeah.
Bernie has 3 houses.
Look, people...
Dude, you worked hard.
Yeah.
You have a lot of money. Congratulations.
People, if we're going to get to this point where it's like, oh, you care about the environment, but you flew private, or you claim to be a man of the people, but you have $1 million, or you have 3 houses... First off, these are the wrong arguments to make. Can we please discuss policy? For the love of Christ.
So much of it.
You guys are adult. You're adults. If we're educated, what the fuck are you doing? And then why are you taking the bait? I'm a modest man. No, I work hard. I don't know. My kids went to regular school. They went to public school. They didn't go to private. Well, one of them went to private. So went to fucking private school. It's a better school, and you made some money, and you worked hard. Jesus Christ, own it, adults. For the love of fucking Christ, you're first off, it's unwinnable because you all have something. Mm-hmm. You wouldn't be here if you didn't have, you have more than one suit. Yes, I do. Yes, I do. And my house is a 2nd story, everybody. Ooh. Look out. And I shop at the Whole Foods. Okay.
Well,
You're
I don't
rich.
shop.
It's fine.
Housekeeper shop.
Move past it.
Well, and that was the whole night. The TurboTax comment. Bloomberg said, I couldn't use exactly TurboTax. And Pete's like, oh, well, I could. Or Amy Klobuchar, my husband and I could, because we're just regular folk. There was so much of it.
Hey, yeah, I'd like a candidate who's like, well, I was born to a very wealthy family, but I'm so fast and loose with my spending that I squandered it.
That's Trump. You got your guy.
That's
you got your guy in office.
What do you want? Just ask about the fucking policy.
Yeah.
What difference does it make what they have in the bank?
There's very little policy talk. A lot of, can you name the president of Mexico? Are you trying to make me cry?
Look, got to get the audience out of there.
Yeah.
They're just playing. They're just pandering to the crowd. Also, what they don't, I think what they're doing is, here's the problem. I think there are, forget the numbers, but there's 2,000 people in the room, and those people are diehard, and those people do care about what's in your bank account, or if you called a woman a fat ass in 1991, and how many, if you have a summer home at the lake, like those people in the room care. Then there's 50 million people outside of the room who just want to talk about energy and taxes and medical care and prescription drug prices and infrastructure. And yet You're playing to the 2,000 people in the room, having a woke off. You're having a circle woke. Somebody wanted me to coin that phrase. You're having a woke off and a circle woke in front of so you can impress the 2,000 people in the room, and then there's 50 million people at home watching going, what the fuck do I care what's in his IRA? I want to know what his policy is on school choice.
Yeah.
Ugh. They're making their own trap.
You're
I don't know why they're doing it.
Very easy fix. Get rid of the audience.
Get rid of the audience and no more questions about shit you said or
at lunch,
stuff you
ago.
made or whatever it is. Let's just get to the policies. Sorry.
Yeah. Los Angeles prosecutors charged the ex-boyfriend of Amy Harwick with her murder. Gareth Pursehouse had posted bail, $2 million on Wednesday, and then police rearrested and charged him. So if convicted, Pursehouse will either spend life in prison or be sentenced to death, depending on the prosecutors, and it's California. Pursehouse apparently broke into Harwick's place in the Hollywood Hills, surprised her when she arrived home, allegedly threw her off a balcony. Harwick and Pursehouse had a violent relationship, according to the Wrap, nearly a decade ago. Twice she filed restraining orders against him. She claimed he tossed her from a car on the interstate.
Remember, I always tell you my theory, the little diminutive dudes, the Davy Jones of the world, the little Keith Partridges, the little guys that got the most pussy. Yeah. And I always said, because at the end of the day, no meant no. You know what I mean? Like, you could throw him off the bed with your leg. You know what I mean? You're dealing with the big dude.
Yeah.
If that switch flips on him, you're going over the balcony railing.
Right.
If that's little Davy Jones, you ain't.
Yeah.
And there's a very visceral sort of female, I'm going to go home with that dude and not that dude. Now, they say they love the big strap,
protect
Gronkowski. Yeah, they can protect you, but every once in a while you need protection from them.
Right.
And that's when they go. And I think the attraction of the diminutive dude is that.
I think you're right.
Because this dude's a big old chunk of dude. And if you're coming in 140 pounds, it's hard to get someone over the railing.
That is the greatest story I have ever heard.
The douche. All right, let's do one more.
All right. Steven Spielberg's daughter has entered show business as an X-rated cam girl. Mikaela Spielberg told a newspaper, "It's not my parents' fault. They couldn't have known." Mikaela broke the news last weekend.
She's a what girl? A cam girl?
Yeah, like she does just like the live webcam solo shows. She broke the...
Here's what I know. I know pornography and I know drugs. Are they like totally naked and putting stuff in them and stuff?
I thought you knew pornography.
Two things you know, man.
I got to tell you. Call me old-fashioned. When they used to have the phone sex ones, I was like, why don't they have phone food ones? Like, hey, I'm brisket. Like, what? Yeah. Ooh.
So tender.
Oh, the gravy's bleeding down my potato.
Look at that smoke ring.
Falls off the bone.
I'm going to make a divot in my potatoes for you. And I'm like, I want to eat. Yeah, no, let's talk.
Talk about eating. Sensually.
Yeah, I'm a soft taco. It was always like, what are we talking about? Let's get it. Let's either hook it up or let me see something. But I guess you get to see something. Yeah, you get to watch.
I guess you can eat while you listen to the food porn.
You want me to beat off and eat? Can you imagine holding a giant turkey drumstick and beating off?
That's the dream.
Sweet. Yeah, that's
Sport of kings.
Hashtag squad goals.
So this is the adoptive daughter of Kate Capshaw and Steven Spielberg. She says that she FaceTimed them and let them know.
Oh, no.
Hey, big guy.
Who's that in the background?
She says she'd like to progress from video to live stage and performing on the pole. Now, Adam, here's what I thought of you. Had a little bit of love line in it. Just listen to the next
When
couple.
When did they adopt her? She wasn't adopted as an infant.
I don't know, but
Max
that's a great
find out.
love line question.
This doesn't feel like infant adopting to me. This feels like already saw a lot and then got adopted.
Be surprised if you were right. She says she's a one-woman enterprise who focuses on cameras and lights and does everything by herself. Men pay to watch her, do whatever. Mikaela calls herself a plus-size pixie.
Oh, do you think you think her dad is like weighing in creatively? Like, I don't know who your gaffer is, but you got to get a new lighting rig in there. I couldn't see most of your labia.
Is this going to be a one-shot?
More lens flares.
Yeah.
She said, I got tired of not being able to capitalize on my body. Frankly, I got tired of being told to hate my body. Over the past few years, Mikaela has struggled with anorexia, borderline personality, alcoholism, all of which she says are results of childhood sexual abuse. However, she notes that her abusers were not part of her family or her parents' inner circle of friends.
Well, I'm definitely right about the abuse part, but now Maxipata is saying she was adopted as a newborn.
So somewhere, I don't know what she's inferring. She's engaged to a 47-year-old dart player and explained that the work she's doing in porn makes her feel good because she's able to satisfy others without feeling violated. And she only does the solo work so she doesn't upset the 47-year-old dart player.
I guess I forgot to beat off last week. So she's adopted as a newborn,
I guess,
and says she was sexually molested.
Not by friends, not by family or family friends, apparently.
So somebody works in the house,
boarding
a babysitter,
school,
camp,
exactly.
somewhere out of the house, maybe.
There's probably a team of child rearers.
Yeah, but I'm thinking, boarding school.
If I'm dad and somebody I was paying was molesting you, and I kind of feel like I'd want to know that person, I'd probably dock them. How many hours do you think you molested my daughter all in for the 7 years? So I'm just going to go ahead and back that out of your next paycheck.
Let that be a lesson to you.
Yeah.
Before you think about doing that again.
Now, what's Steven do? Does he try to get to the bottom of this, or does he just go, oh boy?
I do wonder how this is being handled. The only way I can imagine they can handle it at this point is just be incredibly supportive. You know what I mean? They have to. The optics are already there. We already know there's been some trouble in the past.
She should support her husband's dart career.
I'm going to tell my kids, you start getting into webcam business or throwing darts, I'm going to be marginally supportive. I will not be incredibly supportive when you go off the fucking rails.
Yeah.
I'll be incredibly supportive about you getting therapy for whatever the fuck went on, but whatever it is you're acting out, not incredibly supportive. All right, let's bring it home.
You got it. I'm Gina Grad, and that's the news.
All Mexicans are rapists, and all women are horse faces.
Gina Grad. That was the news with Gina Grad.
All. Do you hear me?